There's a specific moment when it hits them like a freight train that this isn't another temporary cooling off period or strategic withdrawal. You're actually gone for good this time. The recognition arrives suddenly and completely, shattering their assumption that you'll always be there waiting for them to decide they're ready for connection. This realization that you've crossed a line of no return creates psychological panic unlike anything they've ever experienced. The pattern break recognition. They're used to a predictable cycle where they push you away, you give them space, they reach out when they're ready, and you welcome them back with minimal resistance. This time feels different from the moment they try to initiate their usual return sequence and encounter complete silence instead of your familiar responsiveness. The absence of your typical reactions to their tentative reconnection attempts creates cognitive dissonance that forces them to realize something fundamental has shifted. When their tested formulas for regaining your attention fail completely, they understand they're dealing with a new reality where their old patterns no longer work. This pattern break is terrifying because they've built their entire relationship strategy around the assumption that you'll always be retrievable when they decide they want connection. The failure of their retrieval mechanisms signals that they've lost control over the dynamic permanently. The silence that speaks volumes. Your complete radio silence feels different from your previous periods of distance, because it carries an energy of finality they can sense even without direct communication. This isn't angry silence or hurt silence, it's indifferent silence that suggests you've moved beyond caring about their approval or attention. The quality of your silence communicates closure in ways that words never could. They can feel that you're not waiting for them to reach out, not hoping for reconciliation, and not organizing your emotional life around their potential return. This energetic shift is unmistakable to their psychology. This silence hits differently because it doesn't feel strategic or designed to get their attention. It feels genuine and permanent. They realize you're not playing hard to get. You've actually gotten hard, meaning unreachable to them. The replacement reality shock. When they hear through mutual connections that you're dating someone else, moving forward with your life, or seem genuinely happy without them, the reality of your departure becomes undeniable. This external validation that you've moved on destroys their fantasy that you're just taking time to cool off. The evidence of your forward movement while they've been static in their patterns creates panic about being left behind permanently. They realize that while they were assuming you'd always be available, you were actually building a life that doesn't include them. This replacement shock forces them to confront that they're no longer your priority, your focus, or even your concern. You've allocated the emotional energy you used to spend on them to other people and pursuits, making their absence from your life feel permanent and irreversible. The control loss devastation. The moment they realize they have absolutely no influence over your decision to stay gone is when true panic sets in. All their usual tactics for regaining attention and creating connection have been neutralized by your complete indifference to their efforts. This powerlessness to affect your emotional state or decision-making represents their worst nightmare, being completely irrelevant to someone who used to organize their emotions around them. They discover they've become powerless in a dynamic they used to control completely. The loss of their ability to manipulate outcomes through charm, intermittent attention, or emotional appeals leaves them feeling helpless in ways they've never experienced. They can't get you back, because they have no leverage over someone who no longer needs their validation. The irreversible damage recognition. They finally understand that some mistakes can't be undone, and some relationships can't be repaired once certain damage has been done. This recognition that they've crossed a point of no return creates existential panic about the permanence of their loss. The realization that their patterns didn't just hurt you temporarily, but actually killed your love permanently, is devastating because it means they can't fix what they broke. They've pushed you past your limit into genuine indifference where forgiveness isn't possible because caring no longer exists. This understanding that they destroyed something irreplaceable through their own choices creates self-hatred that compounds the pain of loss. They're not just grieving losing you, they're grieving their own responsibility for that loss. The future without you visualization. For the first time, they're forced to imagine their future without you in it at all. Not as someone who might return, not as someone who still cares from a distance, but as someone who has genuinely moved on to a life where they don't exist. This visualization of permanent absence is terrifying. The prospect of never having access to you again, never being able to repair the damage, and never getting another chance to get it right creates panic about their capacity to find meaningful connection anywhere else. They realize they may have destroyed their best chance at genuine love. This future visualization forces them to confront how much of their identity and emotional stability was built around your presence in their life, even when they were taking that presence for granted. The regret tsunami. When reality hits that you're truly gone, they're overwhelmed by regret for every moment they chose fear over love. Every time they pushed you away when you tried to get close, and every opportunity they had to choose differently but didn't. This regret is crushing because it comes with perfect clarity about what they've lost. The regret includes not just missing you, but mourning the person they could have become if they'd been brave enough to receive your love properly. They're grieving both the relationship they destroyed and the growth they prevented in themselves. The desperate bargaining phase. This realization often triggers desperate attempts to undo the damage through grand gestures, promises of change, or elaborate appeals designed to prove they understand what they've lost. These efforts feel frantic and uncharacteristic because they're operating from genuine panic rather than their usual calculated emotional control. The bargaining phase reveals how desperate they actually are to reverse their loss, but it also confirms that their understanding of the damage came too late to matter for the relationship they've already destroyed. The moment they realize you're not coming back is the moment they understand that some consequences are permanent, some damage can't be repaired, and some people won't give infinite chances to be hurt again.